Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Empty. Right now, I'm heading home from watching Mortal Kombat 2. Sorry you're looking up my nostrils in the middle of the night, but literally, when I get home, I'm going to do a review on Mortal Kombat 2. But this quick video is just a story that I went to go see Mortal Kombat and almost got into a fight in the theater. I almost had my own combat. Me and my friend Dave, after we were playing some D&D a few hours ago, and we decided I wanted to go see Mortal Kombat 2, so we decided to go see it over here in LA. And so we get there, we get our concessions, we're chilling, we're watching the mother effing, trailers, and then there's a trailer that comes on called God Is. There's a movie that's coming out where, like, I think Vivica A. Fox is like a mother. She's like on her deathbed or something like that. She's trying to tell her daughters to go kill their dad. I think the movie's called God Is. So after the trailer was over, someone in the very far back said the hard R. So, my friend and I stood up and we was with the shit. First of all, we asked who the fuck said it, and it was like crickets in the beach. And then the funniest thing, well, the coolest thing, is that it became Three Musketeers, because there was a black couple that was a few seats to our left of us that was sitting there. So the boyfriend gets up. So it was Three Musketeers with the shits when it comes to the hard R. So we said a few words in a while before the movie started, and that was it. So later, the boyfriend disappeared. I looked to my left, he's gone. He actually went to the far back row. He went back to the far back row and was like peering at all of them, like, who the fuck said it? You know what I mean? Say it. And so he leaves and goes out. So I'm on code. So I get up and I go outside to make sure that he doesn't, he at least has a witness to help him tell the management. Because off the bat, I already knew that he was going to talk to the manager, which he did. And the funniest thing, the manager was Black American as well. So now we're up to 4. We're up to 4 deep. And so there was a Hispanic dude that was that was outside, and he said he told us who it was in the back, and it was a Hispanic dude, culture vulture, racist Hispanic dude that was sitting in the back, probably in his 20s, with his family or his girlfriend. And so the Hispanic dude that was in the lobby, hallway, he told us who it was. So me. And I didn't realize that my friend Dave actually came outside in the hallway. Turned, he's there. So Three Musketeers. So we say, let's go walk up on him. So as the movie is starting, we walk up on the guy, and we point him out, and we tell him, like, be a man about it. Say it, say the hard R, with 10 toes deep, so we can get this going. You know what I mean? And it's be a man about it. Stop being a about it. And I told him, like, it's funny how you could be racist and you're a culture vulture at the same exact time. That's not even your culture that you're dressed like. And so we said a few words, and that was the end of it. And then I remember us sitting back down and chilling. The boyfriend of that lady, he was still on edge, and I was like, cool, we said our piece. And if we were with the shits, to be honest, we were getting ready to give them the whole Mississippi River beat down. I had no cap. We were getting ready to give a fucking whooping in the motherfucking theater. And we're ironically on Mother's Day, and ironically a Mortal Kombat 2 screening. We were getting ready to give at least a combat, not a mortal, but at least a combat to some racist motherfucker in the back, Hispanic dude. So we're watching the movie, like an hour into the movie. I had to get up to go use the restroom, and there was a Hispanic lady in the hallway with her kid, and she said, hey, the one that said it was the right guy you were talking to. He said it. I said, I appreciate that, God bless. I fist pumped her and I kept it pushing. And she said, yeah, it's crazy, he was racist, blah 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 blah. It is what it is. But the thing is, when the movie was over, my friend Dave didn't want to watch any potential post credits. The Mortal Kombat like music was playing, and I just remember listening to that as a kid and having my cassette tape, playing it over and over again of the theme song, and I wanted to hear it, but he wanted to bounce. Later on, he told me he wanted to bounce to intercept the motherfucker that said, the hard R. Now, the funniest thing is that the guy that said the hard R, him and his girlfriend left early because they didn't want to get jumped or get intercepted. So me and Dave, I was like, okay, cool. So me and Dave, he didn't want to see the post credits. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So we're basically walking in the hallway, and the manager is talking to that racist motherfucker in the hallway, and he's getting heated, and he's going off on them too. You can't be saying that here, blah blah blah. And he was getting pissed, and we walk up on him and say, yeah, man, and he said, I'm about to fuck him up. You don't understand, man. When it comes to foundational Black Americans, the people who are not gringos in America, who were here before basically most people here, who have the oldest ethnic group in this land, when we fight, we don't fight because of one incident. We fight of decades of incidents that were unchecked. So I think that it's very important for people to understand when you start watching these videos of a specific ethnic group. I'm not talking about Nigerians or Ghanaians, shout out to them, or even Jamaicans. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about foundational Black Americans, the ones who are descendants, who are in the same ethnic group as Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and all those people that resisted white supremacy, for centuries. When you fight us, you're fighting us with different objectives. For us, we're giving you everything, We're fighting you, and we're giving a type of ass whooping that's compounded on ass whoopings that wasn't, given to the previous person. So the thing is, I was like, damn, I gotta go take a piss. And so I go take a piss, and I don't wash my hands, and I go right outside out the side exit, emergency exit door. And sure enough, the boyfriend of the couple, the boyfriend with his girlfriend, they already intercepted the dude and was talking to him on the stairway, and David was there as well. So I put my hoodie on just in case if I had a fight, I don't have to worry about dropping my hoodie, because I had it on me just in case it was cold in the theater. And we talked to him, and come to find out the guy apologized because he was scared. He left early and didn't realize he tried to leave early, but got intercepted by the other couple who left early, and because the boyfriend was with the shits. And so the guy apologized. I told him God bless, but I just had to give him a history lesson. Like, dude, like you're talking to the wrong ethnic group. We were here. We built United States of America, and we were here before you guys. So, be respectful and understand that you can't walk around culture vulturing a culture that's not yours and disrespecting the people that you're leeching off of culturally. And I told him that. I said, God bless, and I said, I appreciate you being a man and apologizing. And I said that's good you did, because you getting ready to get stomped out. And he was a young dude, but I don't give a you know what I mean? One last thing I gotta say about Los Angeles. Los Angeles is fucking hostile all the time, and a lot of the times is a whole bunch of racist motherfuckers here in Los Angeles. And I think people forget how much contribution the very people they have racial disdain for their mere existence here in the first place as immigrants. So without further ado, I'm gonna get back and I'm gonna do my review on Mortal Kombat 2. But yeah, this part of the video is kind of janky because my camera's kind of jacked up and a weird angle. But yeah, based on true story. By the way, happy Mother's Day. This all happened on Happy Mother's Day on a Sunday. What it do? Let's get straight into Mortal Kombat 2, my review. No camera today, ladies and gentlemen. No camera today. But right now I'm sitting at my desk, just gonna burn right through this, go off the dome for the most part of my initial impressions of Mortal Kombat 2, which was released May 8th, 2026. I got to see it during Mother's Day, which was on the 10th out here in California. So the movie was directed by Simon McQuoid. probably pronouncing it wrong. He was the same guy from Mortal Kombat 1. This movie was written by Jeremy Slater, Ed Boon, which is the creator of Mortal Kombat, and John Tobias. Now, stars-wise, we had a quite ensemble cast. We had Adeline Rudolph. She was playing the character of Katana. Sir Urban, first name Carl, was playing Johnny Cage. Martin Ford, Shao Kahn. Okay, first off, before we even go further, I just want to say I think that Martin Ford did a really good job as Shao Kahn. I actually wanted more camera time of his character. It seemed like, in my opinion, he was not fully fleshed out. I would have liked to have seen his character more as a three-dimensional character with more of understanding his motivations. Now, that's probably one of my gripes about this movie, but this movie was already damn near 2 hours, 1 hour and 56 minutes. Might as well round it up to 2 hours. So we had that. We have Tati Gabrielle. We had Jessica McName. We had McCade Brooks, who reprised his role as Jax, as well as Jessica, who did Sonya Blade. Ludi Lin came back to play Liu Kang. We had Josh Lawson, and we had a large ensemble cast. We had Chin Han, who played Shang Tsung, and I think he did a really good job as Shang Tsung. I'm looking forward to see what they do with his character. He's young enough to keep this story going. And then we had Louis Tan, who was reprised his role from the first one as Ko Young, which was a non-Mortal Kombat character. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ed Boon decides to actually add him as a character in the game canon. And we had Damon Hiram, Kwai Chi. He plays Kwai Chi. And then, we had a lot of other people in this movie as well. We had CJ Bloomfield, who played Barack. Now on IMDb, it looks like he doesn't even have a headshot. Brother, CJ, you need a headshot, bro. This cannot be your headshot. Like, Lord help a day. You know what I mean? You're in a multi-million-dollar movie and you can't even, put a damn headshot on your IMDb. Maybe just new to the game. And then we had other people as well, as Anathu Nguyen, who played Queen Sidel, and just a lot of characters, a lot of actors in this movie. And I think overall, it played very well. Now, let's just get straight into what I think about the movie. I think that, and I told this to my friend Dave, the one that was with me, that we're about to have our own combat with a racist ass dude and probably his friends in the theater tonight. The thing is, I have to say this. Martial arts choreography today is subpar in comparison to what we got in the 90s and early 2000s. Let's just keep it a buck. We had Best of the Best. We had, Bloodsport. We had all these martial art movies, that did a way better job at choreography when it comes to combat. Hell, I'll even contest and say that maybe the fight choreography in the original Mortal Kombat back in the 90s probably had better fight sequences than probably this one.
What are you doing?
Reptile
Now, I'm not gonna say this was bad, and I'm not gonna say that this was subpar, because obviously it takes a skill and a craft to do this. But I think that, with all due respect to Simon, I think Simon and the cinematographer, the one thing that I will say about a lot of cinematographers and directors today, they don't have a really combat sport background when it comes to how to frame their shots, when it comes to martial arts. I think that this was quite well when it comes to the fight sequences, when it comes to how they framed it. I think there were moments where it was a little bit like it was hard to focus on certain spots, because it was just my opinion. There were certain spots that was just like medium shot, medium shot, medium shot, medium shot. I think that like there wasn't enough wide shots to show like these people do this whole choreography. It was always medium close, because the reality is I think they were compensating on the fact that a lot of these actors don't have a martial arts background. Just keeping it a buck. I'm gonna play this in the background as I'm talking, but I think that there's a lot of medium close shots to show, okay, they're punching, they're kicking, they're doing that, and which is cool. But I think that it would have been cool to maybe add more time into showing more wider shots of showing these people are skilled at what they do and they're fighting to the death. Just my opinion. And it's minor. I'm not sitting here saying that it was a huge problem. Just my opinion. But overall, when it comes to Mortal Kombat, I don't think it really had a solid story. Like, it was just like, it started off just like, let's go straight into it. Mortal Kombat, and that's fine, because I think that when it comes to the mechanics of the game, I think it's kind of hard to translate that over to live action, in my opinion. But I think that what they did wrong with the first one was really set up this world right, so it would justify why we're going straight into battle. I really enjoyed the Barak actor who played the Barak character and actor. I really do appreciate the actor, CJ Bloom. Is that who he is? Bloomfield. I think he did a good job as Barak. I think Adeline did a really good job as Katana. I think that this movie definitely made her three-dimensional and gave her a story arc. Technically, this movie was more about her than Carl Urban's character, Johnny Cage. I think the star power of Mr. Urban is maybe bigger than Rudolph, but I think that they used Johnny Cage as a selling point. But I think that Adeline's character of Katana, she was really the star of the movie. We get to see some of her origin stories of her arc of her childhood, of seeing her father die, the point of her, now making that stance against Shao Kahn. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, I think that overall, I think it was a good movie. I mean, IMDb gives it a 7 out of 10. If I were to say out of like 10, I think I'll probably be more gracious if I do out of 5, because at least you can do multiples of like 2s. But out of 5, I would give it a 3 3/4 to a 4, which is still good, because technically that's a B. I just think that there was a lack of story, and I think that there was a bombardment of characters, and I think they deviated so much from the actual Mortal Kombat that you couldn't even really understand the mechanics of the tournament. I think that the tournament should have been a more focal point in the movie. I'm sorry for spoiling, that's part I'm spoiling. I think that the problem with Mortal Kombat 2 is because it had so much to do within 2 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie was compressed based on it being like 3 hours or freaking 4 hours, because of all the stuff that probably Simon McCoy probably had to cut out of the movie. But I think that, like, with all these characters, you fall into a place where they become one-dimensional or two-dimensional. And I think that they're just better if they're three-dimensional, especially when they die in this combat. Now, don't get me wrong, Mortal Kombat has always been a game where, in the story mode, that these characters always, violating the rules and they're deviating and stuff like that. But I think that they should have really, really, really put more effort into letting the audience know that this is the actual tournament itself. We did see some of the mechanics and things of that sort when it comes to, like, who died and who's still alive, but it made no sense for, I'm going to spoil this, it made no sense for Katana to now be on Earthrealm's side when they ran out of fighters. I think that the mechanic of Mortal Kombat is so fluid to a point that it's not rigid enough to really, take it seriously, because you can just, because they just like they could just nerfed it, because I'm gonna spoil this part. Shao Kahn won. He won. Yeah, he cheated and he did something that I'm not going to say what he did, but he won. All the Earth fighters were defeated. And then all of a sudden, that turn of events made Earth Realm win. I don't really respect that. I really don't. That's the part that I think the writer should have done a better job when it comes to that. All due respect to Ed Boon, but I get this feeling that he probably inserted way too much into the process of this movie being made. That's why he gets a writing credit, and it's his baby, obviously, and I'm definitely not going to take that from him. This is his, but I think that his involvement probably added way too much into a 2-hour format, in my opinion. I think that there should have been a much more higher stake and the fear of losing this last combat in comparison to what we got. I think that the fluidity, how fluid it was for Katana to basically go from, the side that she was on, Shao Kahn's side, and all of a sudden she's a Earth fighter, that just makes no sense. And that means that the rules don't really matter. And I think that, yes, we can talk about the video game. Yeah, there's violations in the story arc. There's people violating the rules of Mortal Kombat. But I think that, when it comes to this type of movie, I think that it took away from this type of stake that would give it much more fair to if you win or lose. And to be quite honest, I think that was what was lacking from this movie, is the fact that the characters, we didn't really care much about them because they barely had any camera time. Yeah, they're depending on the first Mortal Kombat, but that movie came out effing 5-6 years ago. We've already moved on. If this movie came out 2-3 years after the first one, then yeah, maybe they could lean on that expectation. All due respect to these guys, they definitely made a huge shift direction change, which I think Mortal Kombat 2 is better for it. But overall, I think there was just too much stuff going on. But yeah, shout out to Mr. Ed Boon. May he make more games, and I think that they might be actually having what is that character's name? Cole. I won't be surprised if Cole becomes an actual character in the Mortal Kombat games. Because I'll say this, his mechanics in the movie is actually kind of cool. It's a little bit of T'Challa, in my opinion, when it comes to absorbing, kinetic energy and then diverting it back. But yeah, I can respect that. You know what I mean? I think the cast wise was perfect. I think that Liu Kang became a background character, and then it made no sense for him to have crucial fights without any. He really didn't have that much camera time. Yes, you have Johnny Cage as the star, and to be quite honest, I would be surprised if Hollywood said, you know what, we need more star power, because of the failure or the lackluster of the first one. You guys almost didn't get a part 2, so we need a familiar face. And I won't be surprised if they just if Carl Urban was the guy to maybe help with the star power aspect of this movie. Again, Katana is the main character more so than Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is more fleshed out, I think, in this movie in comparison to a lot of the other characters, especially when it comes to Raiden, for example. I think that I really enjoy this Tadanobu Asano. I think he's a terrific actor, and I actually liked his Raiden. His Raiden character is dope. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes forward with this franchise. But I think that I wish maybe my definitive interpretation or definitive want of Mortal Kombat movies, I want it to be a horror movie. And I think that if you're going to make a rated R movie, in which this movie is, just lean into horror. You know, I don't like the idea. I mean, my friend thinks differently when it comes to this, but you know, there shouldn't be a reset button when it comes to these fighters dying. You know, and I know that in the game, these characters were like reincarnated or brought back and by necromancy and stuff like that. But I think that, like, in my opinion, the first couple movies should never be about that. I think that, you know, the politics of Hollywood, you know, you have a star, it's maybe harder to just kill them off and bring them back just to kill them off. But I think that, like, you know, the love of the game, I think that this should have been just like, you're dead, that's it. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything, but characters do die in this, but at the ending, there's a possibility of them coming back. That's a spoiler. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. It's hard not to spoil this freaking, you know, movie without making my points. I think this fight sequence between Luke Cage and what is that character? Xiaolong, am I saying it right? Kung Lao, Max Hong, who I enjoyed as Kung Lao. I think that was a good fight sequence between Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I think that was a good fight sequence. My friend and I both agree that the Scorpion versus New Cybot versus Kano versus Johnny Cage fight sequence versus Jade was actually a good fight sequence. I think overall, the fight sequences in this movie was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie about that. But I think that the handicap is having to compensate on the fact that the majority of these actors don't know how to really fight, and they did the best they could within the confines of choreography to make it seem like they actually can. And I think that's a little different when it comes to the type of workhorse of the 90s and early 2000s. I'll give you an example. Even just beyond Bloodsport and Best of Best, those guys knew martial arts. But a perfect example, I think that was the end of American martial art, like excellence, was probably The Matrix. Because if you look at behind the scenes of The Matrix, they went through excruciating training to get this right. They actually split. Even Lawrence Fishburne got his leg split. You know what I mean? So he'll be able to do those kicks that we saw on top of the truck in Matrix Reloaded, and just as far as what Keanu Reeves has done in those movies with his martial arts, the guy didn't really have a martial arts background like that. You know what I mean? He literally became John Wick by the end of that franchise. You know what I mean? And it was the level of excellency of just a level of detail when it comes to the martial arts. Now, I'm not going to say that the martial arts is bad here. I'm not saying that. I just think that they're heavily compensating for the fact that these actors don't know how to do martial arts like that. So they're leaning on middle to close angle shots, and instead of letting the choreography breathe. That's what I'm saying. Let the choreography breathe instead of just doing a specific. And you can tell they cut specific moves. Like, okay, this next scene, what we're gonna do, you're gonna punch the ground, and that's it. Just boom. Okay, let's do another take. Boom, that's it. There wasn't a wide shot of just one full take of them just going at it. Ba 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 ba, kick, hit, ba 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 ba. This is my opinion. I'm wrong for that. Maybe my standards are too high when it comes to that, but I'm looking forward to see what happens in the whole Mortal Kombat universe. I think part 2. I hope they make a lot of money. Supposedly in the box office, they've already made around $40-something million by tonight. They're kind of toe and toe with Devil Wears Prada 2. But I think that this is a really bad weekend, I think, to release this, because it's Mother's Day, and I don't think mothers want to go see Mortal Kombat 2. I think they want to go see Devil Wears Prada. I think they wanted to go see that. So I think they wanted to go see that. And then also, by the way, you guys, we get a chance to see, if you guys go see Mortal Kombat 2, you get a chance to see the trailer of Resident Evil. I don't know much about, I don't really have an opinion on Resident Evil yet. This is my opinion, but they're trying to lean more on the horror aspect. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know. What else can I think? What else can I critique about? The Noob Saibot was, I think they did a really good job at depicting that character. I think that was pretty dope. I think that there's too many. Well, unfortunately, with Mortal Kombat, it is an ensemble type of thing. But I think that what I would have liked to happen was not Shang Tsung, but what is his name? Yes, Shao Kahn. I would have liked to have seen a three-dimensional Shao Kahn, you know, with his motivations, him walking around doing politics, him doing whatever he's doing in this world. I wish they would have done that. You know, he wins a battle, he owns everything, he says a few words, he's fighting, he gets powered up, he's fighting, you know, like, you know, that's cool and all, but I think that character was like, I really enjoyed Martin Ford's Shao Kahn. I think that they should have fleshed him out more. When it comes to other characters that should have been fleshed out more, I mean, Jay didn't really have much. She was a supporting character, but maybe by the third film, they'll develop her character more. Obviously, Johnny Cage had way more of an arc in this movie, as well as Katana. Sonya Blade, Jax, and Luke Cage were secondary characters. They were kind of pushed in the back because they were the star in the first one. I haven't seen the first one in a long time. I'm so sorry, you guys. I just wasn't feeling the first one like that. But I think that Lord Raiden should have had more time though too. More three-dimensional, you know, development time. And then, you know, Shang Tsung, these are all just like cameo characters that are going to have much more bigger roles later on. I think Chen Han's Shang Tsung is going to be a bigger character in part 3. So yeah, you know, one thing I want to say about Hanzo Hashi, aka Scorpion, which is Hiroyuki Sanada. I think he's, you know, obviously he's actor royalty, actor legacy royalty. This guy's been whooping ass for a very long time, and shout out to him. This guy's in the 60s, so we have a 60-year-old Scorpion. You know what I mean? I think that so you know, keep that in mind. And then in comparison to, you know, Sub-Zero, who ends up becoming, oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. But I'll say this, like Hiroyuki Sanada, I'm happy that he has work, and I'm not gonna shoot him down, but I would have liked to have had a younger Scorpion. You know, somebody that can actually, you know, again, you have these legacy actors who don't, you know, he knows how to fight, he knows martial arts, but he's like 60, almost 70 years old. This guy is not, you know, a spring chicken, you know, and they do kind of joke about, oh, you're not young anymore, you know, that type of part. And, you know, it's kind of weird when you have an old Scorpion and he's supposed to be immortal, and there's no explanation of that. But I would have liked maybe a younger, all due respect, a younger Scorpion. And I think that and not only a younger Scorpion, but just not someone you can just go meet at like you know, at some placid place. This guy should be in turmoil for a very long time until the truth is revealed and he truly gets his revenge. Now, I'm not gonna say nothing, but if you play the games, you know the arc of Scorpion's character when it comes to Sub-Zero, who he thinks killed his wife and his child. What else? CJ Bloomfield, you know, I enjoyed Barack's. Oh, so I should take a picture of it. Maybe I'm wrong, but there were some production issues by the end of the movie where part of his teeth is like missing over here or like dangling. It doesn't look like how it is initially. So I'm sorry for bringing up attention to detail, but his teeth looks different by the time you get to the ending of Mortal Kombat 2. So overall, I think it's worth watching, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's worth, you know, just getting some popcorn and enjoying it, especially if you like Mortal Kombat. And you got to support Mortal Kombat because we're watching a year of fighting games getting screen time in Hollywood, and rarely do we get that. So we got Mortal Kombat and we're getting Street Fighter. So respect the game, but shout out to everyone that took the time to watch this long rant, and stay safe out there. But yeah, Mortal Kombat.